Hello, in this video I'll be performing a usability test on the website that is provided. So I'll start with talking and reading the scenario. The scenario says, the test is mainly to check on home page what would drive you to bounce off and not continue with browsing in addition to user journey for ordering online from the website. Step 1 is, once on the home page, please give a feedback on the home page layout and structure and what you would probably click first, or in case you will close the page, what made you close it without browsing. Okay, so let's see the website itself. Okay, so this is the website, and the first task was to give some general ideas about the page layout. Sorry, let's go back. Okay, so the page layout is pretty friendly for a mobile device. You know, all the buttons that I see are, big and readable, so that's a definite plus. Obviously, this is a website about Pizza Hut in this case, so we have different pizzas and different categories that we can choose from. And we also get the hamburger button up above, which allows us to see the main menu of the site. So in many respects, this website feels and acts more like a native app rather than a website. So in this sense, it doesn't really drive away the customer. It's pretty intuitive in my opinion. Let me just quickly see the instructions again. So once on the home page, please give a feedback on the home page layout and structure and what you would probably click first, or in case you will close the page, what made you do it. Okay, so I think what I would click first, it would really depend on what I want to actually do on the website. If I'm looking for some bargains, for some great offers and deals, I will probably go with one of these three options up above, which are, which I would assume are more like features, highlights, maybe promotions, if there are some, because I saw that this first one was buy one get one free. So if I'm looking, if I've come to the website looking for a bargain, I'll probably tap on this. Otherwise, I'll probably just go ahead and tap on one of these 6 categories: pizza, starters, drinks, pasta, salads, and desserts, depending on what type of food I would like to order. And just to go, down the page just to see what else we have. We have some other offers here. We have Hershey's chocolate chip cookie, and our wings have landed. Basically, these are more like adverts than anything else. And then we get the option to subscribe and sign up for a newsletter. Then we get some standard footer information. So to go back to the main question, in this case I would probably click on pizza because I just want to see what Pizza Hut can offer overall, and I'm not really looking for any particular offer and any particular promotion at this time. So I'm clicking on the pizza button. And here we get, up above we have different categories: beef, chicken, vegetarian, specialty. We can create our own pizza as well as choose from preset pizzas. Here we can choose the different styles and also the different sizes. So let's go back to the instructions. And just to address the last point, which was, if there is anything that would make me close the website, I really didn't find anything that is, very intrusive or very, difficult to handle. Like I said, the website is pretty well built in terms of user friendliness and in terms of being displayed on a mobile device. So in this sense, it's not that difficult, to navigate even on a smaller screen. Even if your phone is not like 5 inches or something similar, even if you're dealing with a 4-inch phone, for example, as am I in this case, it's still very usable and it's still very easy to navigate, even if you're on the move. Even if you can't afford, to stay stationary and just concentrate on this task. You can do it while doing other stuff. So in this sense, I don't think there is anything on the website right now that would make a visitor move to a different site. And I will continue to the next step. The next step says try to order a pizza and customize it until reaching the final place order step. Also add other products such as appetizers and pasta. Please give a feedback on the user journey and your suggestion on the multiple steps and screens. Okay, so since we're here on the pizza page, I'll just find a pizza that I find interesting. And actually this one, Garden Party, it grabbed my attention. I'll just tap on the name itself or on the pizza. I'm just tapping on these right now. I'm just looking to see if on some pages, when you tap on the specific product, you're taken to a product page exclusively dedicated to this particular product. And I was just tapping on these, I was just tapping on the name and on the pizza image just to see if there is such thing on the website. But however, it doesn't appear to be. So I'll just choose thin and crispy, and also we'll go with large. And I'm going to add this to my order. I also see that there is a customize button even next to the different preset pizzas, so that's something to keep in mind. Okay, what happened? Somehow I switched to Arabic, so let's just tap on English. Okay, there we go. Okay, so basically this text right here, it switches basically to Arabic, and that's what I did. Basically, when the slider showed like that, I tried to dismiss it by sliding my finger, sliding my finger to the right, and that didn't work. Basically, when you slide your finger, nothing happens. In iOS, all that you can do is actually swipe back, like pushing the back button. But in order to close the cart, you would just have to tap on the cart button. And this is one usability issue that you might want to consider, is that when you open the cart, and like I said, if you're on the go, if you're moving, if you're not very precise with your tap, with your tap actions, like I did, it's very easy to tap on the Arabic link instead, and then you're taken to an Arabic site, and that's completely bewildering in my opinion. At least, if you don't expect it, you were just adding your pizza to the cart, and the next thing you know, you're taken to a page that you most likely don't even understand. And if you don't see the English sign up above, it's it can be a pretty bewildering experience. So my suggestion in this case would be to somehow move the button, move the language button not to be this close to the cart button. Otherwise, this can happen, and it's very it's a very strange experience. Since the cart button is relatively small. If you compare the cart button to, let's say, the checkout button, just see how big a difference there is in terms of a touch target. The cart button is maybe 1/10, by looking at it, 1/10 the size of the checkout button. And even if you go with a conventional button like the add button here, with this add button, you see it's still pretty big when compared to the cart button. So my suggestion would be, make the cart button larger, and somehow move the language button somewhere else, somewhere that won't be clicked by accident. Okay, with that aside, I'll go back to ordering pizzas, and I'll get a margarita, but I'll customize it this time. So let's see what customization options we have. And we have choose your crust, and we get, again, thin and crispy, let's say. We have large, and pizza sauce, no thank you. Extra counts as 2 toppings. Okay, let's see. Tap to add the topping to your pizza. Double tap if you want extra. Okay, let's try that. We want double beef. Okay. If you actually double tap, like you saw, at least on iOS, if you double tap something, it actually zooms the website. So in this case, I would, I don't know, I would try to somehow fix this because it's, it's not very elegant. If you want, if someone wants, to double tap something, usually when you're asked, to double tap something, it means, tap in quick succession. So it's double tap like that. What I would suggest doing in this case was, rather than saying double tap, which, like I said, at least to me implies that you want to do it, quickly, as so it's registered as a single gesture. What I would suggest doing instead is maybe reword it to say not double tap, but tap twice, or tap 2 times on an item to make it extra, something like that. Basically, don't say double tap, because it's like, if you go back to desktop computing, when you say double click on this icon, you don't click once, then wait 5 seconds and click again. Usually click, you do it relatively quickly. So that's my suggestion here. Okay, so let's see where we are. We'll just tap a few things here. Oops. For an evenly cooked pizza, our chef allows up to 5 ingredients. Okay. So I'll just leave it at that. What else we have? We have meats, veggies. Let's see. Oh, okay. I'll just... Interesting. So this is something interesting that you need to think about. So right now I have added apparently the maximum number of ingredients, and you see the configuration on the screen. Now, if I want to remove succulent, for example, what I was trying to do is I was trying to just like on extra, if you tap it again, it will remove itself. But if you try to do it with succulent, you get the error. So I have to press this remove button below, which I didn't really see at the very beginning. So this was a bit of a surprise to me. But since I saw the button relatively quickly, I don't think the visitors to the website will have much problems with it. Okay, so I have added some things, and I'll just go ahead and add this to my cart as well. Okay, so now we have 1 garden party and 1 margarita. Can we tempt you? That's interesting. So you also get suggestions for another type of pizza, and I'll just ignore that for now. I don't really see a way to close this, which you might want to think about. Basically, give the visitor a next button, in some corner, so they can actually, close this. So they can actually close this suggestion, if they don't really need it. Okay, so if I go back to the instructions, they said also add other products such as appetizers and pasta. So that's what I'll do now. I'll just tap the menu item and go to menu and go to pasta if I see it. Pizza, pasta, there we go. Okay, however, I think I'll go with the spaghetti bolognese, so I'll just tap this, and here we go. And finally, I would also try to add some appetizers as well. So we'll click again, and let's go with salads. Let's see what we have there, and we'll see that we have several salads here. I'll go with mayo salad. And finally, I'll just want to add a custom pizza as well. So I'll just go back to pizza, and I'll create my own. That's what I want to try. Okay, so we choose our crust. I will go with stuffed crust. The size is large, which is okay. We get pizza sauce, and now we'll choose some veggies this time. So we'll go with this, and that. Good enough. Some flavoring. We'll go with this one here, and we'll add this to our order. Okay, there we go. So we have all of our pizzas here, and we have a pretty good size cart right now. We have 5 items. So I'll just close the cart and continue on with the next step. Give us feedback on the user journey, suggestion on the multiple steps and screens. Like I said, I think just to summarize this step, I think the biggest confusion, the biggest source of confusion that I had was the language button that I accidentally pressed. That, and also this suggestion here is also a bit, if it's persistent, if it stays there all the time, it might get a little bit annoying. So my recommendation would be to add an X, to add a button that would allow you to close the suggestion. Otherwise, it's pretty good. And now to go back to the instructions, try to order a pizza and customize it until reaching the final place order step. Also, add other products such as appetizers and pasta, give us feedback on the user journey, and your suggestion on the multiple steps and screens. Okay, so I would think that that's the part that I need to go to, since the next part would be checkout. I'll just tap that to see how it looks, and we have deliver and pickup. So I would think that's the end point of this step. So I'll just click next. And now we have browse throughout the website and provide general feedback on the user experience. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just go back to the website. There we go. And okay, that's interesting. So I don't know if it was noticed, but about 20 or 30 seconds ago, the button, the number next to our cart, the number 5 that is right now, was a bit squished. I can't really simulate the bug again. I'm trying right now, but when I went to the home page, I'll just try it again. There we go. See, when you have something in the cart and you tap on Pizza Hut at the top, somehow the button gets squished for a short amount of time. I think the time is until this slider changes. So right now we have buy one get one free. No, actually it doesn't really correlate, but nevertheless the bug does exist. When you tap on Pizza Hut and the number of items in the cart gets squished. So that's a bug that needs to be ironed out. But now let's go to the main menu and see what we have. We have my account, find Pizza Hut, customer service, nutrition, about us, policies, other countries. Okay, so with the menu we pretty much saw what there is, so I'll just go to find a Pizza Hut and see what we get there. Okay, and here we have different Pizza Hut locations. Let's see if we can zoom the map. It's pretty good. It's not as fluid and it's not as good as a native application, as native maps application, but still, it's pretty. It's pretty easy to go around and to navigate. And this appears to be a standard Google Map integration. One thing that I might suggest doing, I'm not sure how feasible this is, but it would be great if on this information page for each Pizza Hut location, if you could add maybe a telephone number, opening hours, that sort of thing, basically, just make it as useful as possible. That's my recommendation because, normally, when I go to find the location of a given, for a given shop or for a given restaurant, the very next thing that I want to see is when are they open? For example, do they work weekends? How, when do they close, and so on. And also, maybe the next step will also be to make a reservation, so I'll need to call them. So in this sense, I think it would be it would be tremendously helpful if you could somehow, in addition to location, longitude, latitude, also add telephone number, opening hours, and basically this. Maybe some other information if you can think of it. I can't really, and that's, to me that's the most important thing. Have the contact information right here in the maps. Because on Google Maps themselves, it's not uncommon to actually see business information about the given business when you tap on it. So I don't think it's technically impossible to add the information that I'm suggesting. Okay, let me see another page. Let's see what we have in. I don't really have an account, so I'm not tapping on sign in, register, or my account, since it doesn't really make much sense. But let's see what the contact us page looks like. Okay, contact us. We are happy to answer your questions, and we are glad to take your feedback into consideration. We have main office, phone number, and email, and then we get a contact form. Okay, it looks pretty standard, so there isn't much I can say about it. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, to be honest. It doesn't really appeal to me, but I suppose it will get the job done. Let me just tap on the date. Okay. I was just trying to see if there is some sort of pop-up that that will give you the ability to write the date there. I'm sorry, not to write the date, but like a small calendar, and you just tap on the date that you want rather than having to type it in manually. Okay, and I'll just move throughout the page a little bit more. Maybe go to find a Pizza Hut. Okay, basically that's the same page as the find a Pizza Hut main menu as well. If we go to policies, we have terms of use, other countries, change country. Okay, let's go to our story. That will be the final page that I review. So I'll just quickly scroll through this. We get basically some history on Pizza Hut. The founders, I suppose. These two people right here, that should be the first store. And basically we just get a small history lesson on the origins of Pizza Hut. Okay, so I'll just go to the steps in my review. And let's see what we have here. Browse throughout the website and provide a general feedback on the user experience. Just to summarize, I think the website is pretty well built for the most part. The contact form that I saw is a bit, it'll get the job done, but it doesn't really delight the visitor. It's not very inspired. So maybe if you find some way to redesign it or make it somehow more interactive, that will be a huge plus. And as for the general experience and for the general journey that the visitor takes throughout the website, I think the website is pretty well structured. Sometimes some people might be confused to find the same option. Find a Pizza Hut. To find it, in the menu twice, it might be a bit confusing to some people, but I don't really mind it. I mean, as long as you don't go overboard with this, and have like a menu structure with let's say 30 items, and your website has a total of 7 links. As long as you don't go overboard like that, I think it's fine. If you duplicate 1 or 2 or 3 items that some people might look for them in different places. So in this sense, I think the website is pretty well built. the only thing that I would suggest again is on the map, if you could add the different, if you could add additional information to the different locations and to the different shops. And like I said, the vital information that most clients will be looking for is opening hours and also a contact number. I saw that in the About Us section, in the Contact Us section actually, sorry. I saw that you actually had a phone number, so maybe you can actually add this number to, at the bottom of Find a Pizza Hut, for example. So, you get the you get this map right here, and at the bottom before the footer, you just say, for additional information, call this number, something like that. It will still be, even if you can't integrate with Google Maps like I suggested, having this is also a very good compromise in my opinion. It will still give the client the ability to, to get more information from the same screen without having to hunt around the website for it. And I'll move on to the next step. And the step asks, how well do you think the products are organized and easy to find, customize, and do you think that the website will tempt you to order if you have landed on it without the previous intention to order from Pizza Hut? If I'm not, if I don't go to Pizza Hut intentionally to order, I think the thing that would make me order is to have a very good promotion, like the one buy one get one free. So if you're trying to attract as many customers as you can, I would suggest doing more of these sorts of promotions. Maybe not, maybe have, order a pizza of any size or something like that and get a free drink, or, basically try to give out freebies. Try to give out promotions. Try to always have at least one active promotion. I think that's the best. I think that's the best way to attract new customers. If someone doesn't want to buy something explicitly, make them, tempt them to buy something. I think the can we tempt you category in the cart, I think it's a very nice touch. I was actually a bit delighted when I saw that. I think it's cool. However, don't make it a permanent thing. Basically, let the customer have the option to remove that, because in the cart you usually have plenty of things to go through, and that's the place that where you want to organize stuff, and seeing items that are not really in your cart there, and you don't have the option to dismiss this. I think it's a bit confusing. It might make it might confuse the client. Do we really have, have we really ordered this suggested item so it stays there all the time? Did we really order it? Or is it just there, just as an advert? So basically, my recommendation is add a little X sign, make the client able to dismiss this suggestion. And let me address the other points here. So we have, how well do you think the products are organized and easy to find? Customize, and do you think the website will tempt you? Okay, so from the top, how well the products are organized. I think they are pretty well organized. We get, when we tap on menu, we get pizza, pasta, starters, salads, drinks, desserts, kids meal, for me, deals. So it's pretty, just by looking at the different titles, you can pretty much guess what you'll get. So in this case, in this sense, I don't think it's that difficult. If you click on salads, okay, salads is not a good example, but if we click on pizza, okay, if we can click on it, there we go. Okay, up above we also get, beef, chicken, vegetarian, specialty, so we can actually narrow down the type of pizza that we want. So in this sense, I think it's pretty well thought out and pretty well executed. In terms of customization, it's also very easy. Even if you just want to make some, some quick customizations, like right here, choose choose the type of pizza and the size, and then add to cart, or you can go overboard and tap the customize button and just go through the different sections. I remember that earlier in this usability test I actually had some suggestions and had some thoughts on the adding of toppings and so on, but I won't revisit them. Basically, just a quick summary. The double tap thing, it doesn't really make much sense to call it double tap. More, it will be better suited if it's called tap, 2 times, or tap, twice, or something like that. Basically make it clear that you don't have to tap quickly twice in order to do that. And let's see the instructions again. So I think, okay, so the products are pretty well organized. I can definitely agree with that. You don't have overlapping products, and also the categories are very well named, so you don't get any confusion there. They're easy to find. The menu is the first item in the menu. Okay, that's a bit redundant. Basically, when you click on the hamburger button, the menu option where you get all the food is the first item that appears, and that's as it should be, in my opinion, because most people, they'll start reading from the top down, so they'll most likely read this first, which is the most prevalent thing on the website. So it's definitely easy to find. Customize. I think the customization is also very straightforward. Basically you just get, several options, and you just tap, from multiple choices. You make your choice, which is, like I said, pretty straightforward, and I didn't have any problems with the process. And as for the last part, I think I answered it earlier. If I'm coming from, let's say, a link somewhere in Google, for example, and I just stumble upon Pizza Hut, the thing that will make me order would be to find a really good deal, something that's, something that will make me, really want, this deal. I think it's a really good value, and I'll just go ahead and order it, even if I didn't have plans previously. And I'll just click next now, because I think I have pretty much summarized this step. Any final thoughts? Please provide any additional comments, questions, or suggestions you have before you stop recording and continue on the follow-up questions. Okay, overall I think the website is pretty well built. Like I said, it's easy to read, it's easy to navigate. The thing, all the buttons are pretty intuitive. You don't really see what the, you don't really think about what the different buttons do. They're pretty straightforward. The biggest problem that I had with the website, I think the biggest drawback right now, was the incident when I accidentally switched the language. I think that's the biggest pitfall that the website can have right now. So, like I said, making the shopping cart button bigger, the touch target for the shopping cart, making it bigger, and also somehow relocating the language button so it's not that easily pressed. I think this is the biggest pitfall that the website should consider improving. Another point that I have to point out, something that we already discussed, but I just want to make a point of it, is to the point is, how can I say this? Basically, make more information available on the maps screen. I think that's also very, it can be very useful for your clients. If someone doesn't really want to order something online, but they would rather visit a store, they would rather visit a Pizza Hut shop, it would be much better, to have the option to make a reservation and so on right from the same screen, because I really didn't find any place to do it actually on the website. So adding this information, contact information for each Pizza Hut, I think that can be very beneficial. And I also had a few other small suggestions along the way, but I think these two things, the language button and additional information for each shop, I think these two are my biggest These two are my biggest recommendations that I can give. And with this, I'm going to conclude this usability test of Pizza Hut. Thank you.